What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and this is our NFL Week 5 betting preview. Today, we're going to talk size. We're going to talk totals. We're going to talk props, moneyline underdog parlays, anytime touchdowns. Of course, as always, Bulldog Sunday six-pack against the spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Been just on a real hot streak on the show, just carrying up 17-9 officially on the score. How you feeling heading into week 5, Stuck?
Good. Yeah, I mean, it was a good week, but still no end game joy. I mean, it's getting crazy at this point. Going on a year and 4 weeks now. Like every swing game possible has gone the other way. I should have 3 6-pack sweeps in 4 weeks, but the Rams got the field goal blocked after being up 20, and the Raiders have a field goal blocked. And they were like net 15% success rate, averaged like 3 yards per play more, had 5 turnovers in their own territory. So that's frustrating. And like they're just losing that one swing in every week adds up. So hopefully can start to get some of those to go my way. But yeah, it was a good week for the six-pack on the show. And as always, who cares about last week? It's on the next.
Yeah, man. And nah, you've been locked in though. I gotta give you credit. You've been just no Titans shenanigans this year. Love it. So we'll get to the six-pack. Are we any thoughts on Thursday night football, or are we just jumping right in?
I mean, there's just so many injuries. I mean, I assume Purdy, Pearsall, and Jennings are going to be out, and there's defensive injuries. They obviously missed Bosa. But like, I don't know. There comes a point where I might have to buy the 49ers. They were minus 4 turnovers last game. For what it's worth, if you bet teams off of 4 turnover plus games, they're 58% against the spread the next week. There's no home field advantage here, like divisional game with this crowd and this travel. A lot of familiarity between these teams. The 49ers, by the way, have gone 11 straight games without an interception. That's an NFL record. So as of right now, it's just a tough one. I mean, I already hate Thursday night football. Now you throw in all of these injuries for San Francisco. It's probably a stay away for me. But if this keeps going, I mean, it's 7.5 now at some places. I could only bet. So it looks like it's 7.5 minus 112 at DraftKings. I could only go San Francisco, but not a game I'm running to bet. The gods are paying back the Rams for that horrendously unlucky loss at Philly. They get the AD Mitchell drop at the 1,
Oh my goodness.
and then they get the 49ers decimated roster. And then, hey, guess what? Extra rest, and then you get to play the Ravens decimated roster. Those are two of their hardest games on their schedule, right? On paper, the 49ers and Ravens back to back, and they might get, backup quarterbacks and backups all over the place. But not one I'm rushing to bet. There's just so many injuries for San Fran makes it tough. But at this point, market probably has gone a little too far.
Yeah, it's like you have to go San Francisco or nothing, but you just don't. You don't really want to it's this team continues to get injured to the point where I know that they practice harder than most teams, and even in the off season. But I mean, the Chiefs practice harder than anybody in the off season, from what I hear, and they seem to be a little healthier than this. So this is at some point the Niners really have to address this, because it's just
Every
week
year.
in, week out, and this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. Every year it starts as a Super Bowl caliber roster, and by week 3 it's like done. So we'll see how that goes. But as I mentioned, Stuck, you're up 17-9 in the six-pack. I guess I'm going first this week.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
I think we
Sure.
flip-flopped it last, but whatever. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna start us off with my first pick of the week 5 Sunday six-pack. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos plus 3.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is a pick that I actually ended up deciding on later in the process. But looking at this Eagles team, I mean, they've just gotten extremely lucky. They're number 1 in our luck rankings right now. The Broncos are 24th. And when I look at Denver is always a team I was high on. But if you just look at the raw underlying metrics, offensively, EPA per play, Denver is better at 0.048. Philadelphia is at 0.032. So Denver's 13th, Philadelphia's 16th. That's offensively. Now, defensively, Denver's number 4 in EPA per play. The Eagles are 12th. If you look at success rate on the defensive side of the ball, the Broncos jump to 3rd and Philly drops to 17th. And that kind of matches the eye test, where you look at Philadelphia and when they play a quality defense, I think you're going to see issues. And we started to see that against the Rams. We even saw it for a half against the Cowboys before they got completely decimated, in the week 2 on. And
Bucks also had a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball. Insane how lucky they've been.
It's, you're down 26-7 to the Rams, and we know a lot of, especially these veteran coaches, just don't know how to protect leads these days. And so I'm not going to give Philly too much credit for that. I did think they should have came into the game more aggressively, but they got it done. They block a field goal, they take it back for a touchdown. So the Rams don't even cover the 3.5, and it looks like Philadelphia has another, decently sizable victory. Last week, yeah, same thing. Just not a very convincing win over a decimated Bucks team. Guy went in his first game back, didn't look quite right. They targeted him 10 times and played him on 90% of the snaps. So Denver's just been the better team. And Denver's had some unlucky breaks. Denver's been taking some risks that maybe they shouldn't have been taking. A lot of downfield throws for Bo Nix and questionable play calls for Sean Payton at different times, and just a lot to correct for Denver. Finally had a pretty solid all-around game against a Cincinnati team that's just kind of down on its luck a little bit. I know you're kind of want to hop back on now, which we'll talk about. But overall, I can't get away from the fact that Denver's just been a better team. And then you look at underdogs versus undefeated favorites. 181, 129, and 758% since 2010, when the dog is under 8 points. Sean Payton, 58% in his career as a dog at 58, 42, and 2 against the spread. And again, this is our only luck ranking side of the week, and it is an A-graded side, and that comes from extensive back testing. We have A, B, C, D grades, and C is kind of the threshold. A, very rare. So very good spot, I think, for Denver. Love getting the hook in this spot for an Eagles team that I'm not convinced they can move the ball consistently to build margin here to even win this game. I think, Jalen Hurts at 6 yards an attempt. Barkley's not been his same explosive self with the runaway explosive runs, and I think that's taken a big toll. And then the defense and special teams have just gotten lucky. So yeah, give me the Broncos plus 3.5.
Yeah, I agree here. I originally drafted the Broncos, but due to a typo, you ended up with him somehow. So, but yeah. I was happy because you were going to go with the Giants.
Pick. I was, and
I like the Saints. I like the Saints this week. Now the line has moved a bunch, but I did play the Saints. I think they win. I mean, this is the first road start for Dart. QBs in their first 2 starts of their career on the road are 13 and 34 straight up. There's no neighbors, so there's no deep ball here. They have tape on what they want to do with Dart, which basically run them. Like, hey, just spy them here. Saints looking for their first win at home. They went toe-to-toe with the 49ers, toe-to-toe with the Cardinals, toe-to-toe with the Bills. I mean, their defense is 20th in success rate. It's not horrendous. Yeah. Giants are 29th. The rush D is the key here. The Saints are 16th in rush EPA on defense, 11th in success rate. The Giants are dead last in both rush EPA and success rate. 2 teams that want to run the ball, lean on the run. Taysom Hill back, I believe. So
do we believe that though? I mean, I know he's practicing, and our guy D Payne, that's his guy. And he's already picking him up in fantasy. But I mean, this guy's 35 and just coming off an ACL in December. But I
don't think. I mean, he's not going to be the every down guy. I'm just saying, he could be used as a gadget here or there to hit like an explosive, or you never know. Forrest Morrow. I mean, maybe he could help.
Foster,
Foster Morrow. Sorry,
Taysom Hill will take the Maliki Matavao role, and Foster Moreau will take the Jack Stoll role.
But Rattler has not been terrible. I mean, he's 17th success rate, 15th in completion percentage, 16th in completion percentage over expectation.
Turnovers.
So he's been, the turnovers have killed him, but. I just think that this is a spot.
Fair. I mean, you talked me off of him. When I was looking at I was like Denver Giant. Like once I adjusted for neighbors, it does get kind of shaky, but I still think Rattler's a little turnover prone, and it's hard to as a favorite. I still may end up fading Spencer Rattler. We'll see where the lines ends up.
But
But
they can lean on the run game here. That is the clear weakness
yeah.
of this Giants D.
Where
That's
you where you going with your pick though? Because we're getting off track here.
okay. What I will
You're making a
say,
good
well,
case. You're
I
making
will
a
say
good
I
case.
agree on the Broncos.
Okay.
Lane Johnson's not healthy. Their offensive
No.
line isn't the same. Barkley's averaging 2.7 yards per carry in the second half. Last year was 6.7.
Yeah, because
The
he ran
interior,
away from everybody.
yeah, the interior offensive line is way worse, and they're banged up. Uh, like Surtain, hey, he can take away just the only throw that the Eagles have. They run two routes with AJ Brown when they actually throw to him. Uh, Good luck against Surtain, and the Broncos are they could live in the backfield here. And here's what the Broncos can do on the road. They can lean on their run game. The Eagles defense is significantly worse. It's like an average day now. They only have 5 sacks in 4 games, and they're 30th in rush success rate.
Carter's banged up too.
What's that?
Carter's banged up now too. It looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Carter is not 100% healthy, so who knows? It looks like he was out there practice, but yeah, the Eagles have been extremely lucky. And by the way, there's going to be a game where Hurts turnovers are coming. The last 2 years, this guy, 25 big time throws, 22 turnover worthy plays, yet 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. There's going to be a day where turnovers come, and it might be this week. So yeah, I mean, I don't trust this Eagles team to get margin over anyone. So I completely agree. But for my first pick and the second overall of the week 5 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals plus 10.5. This is as ugly as it gets. This is your buy low, sell high spot of the week, in my opinion. First, when you look at the lines, yes, they've looked good, but can we look at who they've done it against? The Bears. Remember, they got shut down by the Packers in week 1. They played the Bears backup defense at home in a great spot, but they had all those injuries. Then they played the Ravens. Have you seen the Ravens defense lately with all those injuries? The Ravens defense is in shambles. And then last week, they get a bunch of turnovers. It's not like their offense lit the world on fire against a really good Browns D, but they have benefited from some very fortunate situations over the past few weeks, and it might not be as good as it may appear. Meanwhile, the Bengals, I think this has to be close to rock bottom. I mean, and look, they went against Flores and the Vikings in Minnesota, and they went up against this Denver defense in Denver. That's like two of the hardest places to play against two of the hardest defenses to play. I get it's been a mess. Jake Browning's been a mess, but this should be much easier and will look like a much more functional offense at home against the Lions defense that's 28th in pass rush win rate. They're not just going to be in the backfield immediately. And if there's one thing Browning has consistently done, like we've seen him be a competent backup before and come in and play okay. He's really been good against the blitz. And even this year, his numbers are good against the blitz, and the Lions are blitzing at the highest rate in the league. But most importantly, the Lions are going to be without, looks like both of their outside corners. So you have a cluster injury there. I mean, they're probably going to kick Robertson out at the outside, and then Rock Ya-Sin might be starting. And then
Good old Rockets.
you're gonna have to put Maddox, Avante Maddox, who's awful at slot, or maybe you put Branch down there, or vice versa. I don't know. It's a mess either way on the outside, and you have Chase and Higgins still. So, yeah, I think this is way too many points. I get that the Lions cover every single week. I think they're like 50 and 21 against the spread since 2021. And I don't know how the Bengals are going to get stops. Their defense is embarrassing, but I think the Lions, excuse me, but I think that the Bengals can keep up. So, yeah, this is a good buy low, sell high spot. For what it's worth, dogs of 7 plus with a 3 game average scoring margin of worse than minus 17 are 58% against the spread historically, sample size of about 150 games. Home dogs of 10 plus, just basic home dogs of 10 plus, 74, 56, and 1 against the spread, 57%. When they're off of a loss of 14 or more points, 60%. Home dogs after scoring 3 or fewer points. That's who wants to bet them. I mean, usually means it's not a great team and everyone just saw them score 3 points or fewer. 61, 36, and 2 against the spread over the past 20 years, 63%. And just this decade alone, 7+ point home dogs, 71, 46, and 3 against the spread. So yeah, I I can't get to this number one. It'll be easier for Browning here. Not going up against as elite of a pass rush. The Lions have cornerback injuries against one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. The only thing that scares me is like the Bengals quit. Like they look like they quit in that game against the Broncos, but this is the NFL. Team's not going to quit at home. They're still 2-2. Lions, I think, are close to the peak, have benefited from some things recently, have the Chiefs on deck, maybe a little bit of a sleepy spot. So, yeah, give me the Bengals catching 10.5. This line has gone way too far. I mean, the Lions were just 10-point favorites at home against Flacco. I I mean, now on the road against Cincy. I mean, I get that the Bengals have a terrible D and the Browns have a good one, but the Bengals at least have weapons on the outside. And yeah, so I think there's too many points. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, I'll probably be with you on this one. I think with the Lions, it's the one worry, or the one worry with the Bengals is just the turnovers. But you look at who they played, and Minnesota statistically is what, the best defense in the league, and the Broncos are top five.
Yeah, both of
So
them are like top two or three in pressure rate.
right, so for a guy like Browning, if he's gonna struggle because he is a backup for a reason, he's gonna struggle in those spots. And playing this Lions team and making the Lions go outdoors. This is not a just another one of those home games where they can just kind of go crazy with the scoring, which they'll do. But yeah, I agree. I think everything's kind of pointing towards this is not going to be as easy for the Lions and not as difficult for the Bengals. So I'll probably be with you on this one. I like that. Uh, okay, for my second pick, the third overall of the week, number 5 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders +7 at the Indianapolis Colts. Defensively, surprisingly enough, you look at the metrics, these teams have been about equal. Defensive EPA per play, Colts are 13th, Raiders are 15th. Success rate, Raiders on defense are 15th. Colts are way down at 25th. Offensively, it's where the Raiders have been turning the ball over. They've been struggling. Unfortunately, one thing I don't like about this spot is their tackle for the Raiders, Miller, just went on IR. But
Huge loss.
yeah, all that being said, I still think the Raiders are a bit undervalued on offense. I still think that the Colts offensively have some regression. They've had tied for the third fewest drives in the league, and they're topped in scoring rate at over 60%, which is just tough to sustain over a full season. And we're starting to see some of the cracks with Daniel Jones, not being able to consistently use his legs, and the turnovers started coming. And for when you're going up against this Raider D again, they've somehow cobbled together a decent defense. I think we both like Patrick Graham, and he was kind of a holdover from the last regime, but got their defense playing, I think, above their talent level even. So that's a good sign. But also, Pete Carroll, this is still a veteran coaching staff, and I think that's what should help a little bit in this spot. And I still think Daniel Jones has some more aggression because you look at him and he's in terms of throwing to his first read, and this is a credit to Steichen, but in terms of throwing to his first read, he's near the top of the league. And I just think over a full season, that starts to become more and more difficult. And this Raider defense, as one that tends to be a little bit better schemed than people think, is one that I think could make them pay. And then you mentioned it, the Raiders, they got unlucky to just turn the ball over numerous times in scoring position last week. That final score could have been a lot different. Even the Chargers' final score 2 weeks ago could have been a lot different when they lost 20-9. But overall, I think this Raider team is competitive. I don't think this Coast team is good enough to be a 7-point favorite here, even at home. Can't get to this number. Carroll off a multi-game losing streak, for what it's worth. 23-6-1 against the spread, 79% over a 30-game sample. So, and some of those were, in fact, with Geno. So yeah, give me the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, my number says I should join you. Maybe I will. But I mean, Geno's been a mess. And part of that is the offensive line's been a mess. And that has hurt the run game. And I don't think they're going to be able to, like, the Bears' front is so bad and their defense is so beat up. I don't think they're going to be able to have a lot of success running the ball here. I just can't figure out why Geno, like, It's unbelievable how bad he's looked. And now you don't have your left tackle, who's by far your best offensive lineman, one of the better left tackles in the NFL, and one of the most underrated. Like Gino, he's playing indoors against like backup defensive backs, throwing some of the worst picks you'll ever see. I just can't figure out why he looks so bad. I mean, it's horrendous. Kenny Moore might not go for the Colts, which is big. Didn't practice again today. Eric Stokes, as bad as he is, he's important to the Raiders. It looks like he should be okay this week because their depth isn't great. But yeah, I mean, this is a huge upgrade for the Colts, saying that they're like the, I mean, this much better than the Raiders. That's pretty wild adjustment. So my numbers would agree with you. It's Raiders or nothing. But the Miller injury and how bad Gino has looked, and you still can't really trust this Raiders defense on the back end consistently. And if Gino's not going to play any better, they're not going to be able to keep up because the Colts, they have a lot of weapons. It looks like Alec Pierce will be back and Calvis. Like their offense, regardless, I do think there's some regression in the cards, but their offense is going to put up points. And if Gino doesn't play better, and if the offensive line gets even worse without Miller, oh, yikes. But it's I would agree, it's either Raiders or nothing. For my second pick and the fourth overall of the Week 5 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the New York Football Jets. What's our best out there? 2.5? Doesn't matter for the contest, but
Should be 2.5. Yeah.
plus 2.5 against the Cowboys. If you haven't bet this yet, I'll wait a little bit. You can get a cheap, really cheap 2.5, but you might as well wait to see if you can get a three, even a three minus 120 at some point. But I like the Jets here. First of all, the Jets should be 2-2. These teams have played similar strengths of schedules, by the way, and the Jets have a better yards per play margin. But they had a fluky loss against the Steelers. Last week was, you want to talk about a fluky loss. What did they have? They had about a net 15% success rate in that game. How did they lose? Well, number one, penalties. We had, let's see this. They had 13 penalties for
Yeah.
101 yards. They lost the turnover battle 3-0, including two fumbles, one by the goal line. They outgained the Dolphins 404 to 300. They should have won that game. So they should be 2-2. Cowboys, by the way, are coming off of just a huge emotional effort at home against the Packers and Parsons' return. And by the way, the defense is on the field. Some of those guys were on the field for 80, 85 plays in an overtime game. Usually see the effects of that on the defensive side of the ball the next week. It's a super small sample size, but road favorites after a tie. So when the team plays the full possible, the most amount of minutes you can possibly play, road favorites after a tie are just 0-4 against the spread. They're failing to cover by about 17 points per game. So they haven't even been close the next week. Fields this year has been so much better against zone. 6 yards per dropback versus zone. He's only four versus man. Well, the Cowboys are running the least amount of man in the league, like 6% man coverage. This defense is a joke. The Jets should be able to run it. And by the way, it's the worst pass defense in the league. So it's the Jets should get their run game going. Fields should have success through the air, like Fields with his legs. This Cowboys defense is horrendous. I'm getting them outdoors here too. We saw with their offense, it just didn't look the same against a Bears secondary with all backups. And you saw the loss of CeeDee Lamb, and Turpin now is hurt and might not go. That's big, especially against the Jets team that likes to run a lot of man. And Turpin has been very good against man in his career. So yeah, I don't trust this Cowboys team one bit. Dak Prescott's playing really well, but the offensive line isn't healthy. Like I mentioned, there's no CeeDee Lamb. This is still one of the worst defenses in the league. Jets have been fairly unlucky, 0-4 going for their first win. For what it's worth, teams that are 0-4 or worse, facing a team that is 500 or worse on the season, are 67% against the spread over the past 10 years. So, yeah, I think this is more of a coin flip game. And I don't see why the Jets offense shouldn't have success. The Jets defense isn't anything to write home about, but with no Lamb, maybe Jermaine Johnson coming back outdoors at home. Give me the points here in a game that I think is I make basically around a pick.
Yeah, the Jets look better. Like when you just the eye test, even like they look better, and then you look up and they're still just 0-4. It's like at some point, I think things got to regress. And yeah, Cowboys going outdoors, um, in this spot when they've really just been relying on their offense. I think that's at some point that's got to slow down too. I know they put up a great game against a good
I mean,
defense.
look what happened in Chicago. And Chicago's D had no one playing
Right.
back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Some of these teams are just going to be Jekyll and Hyde home road, and MetLife, it's not an easy place to play if you're not used to it. So yeah, I like that as well. We'll talk about probably revisit that in a bit. All right, before we get to our last two picks, don't forget to upgrade to an Action Pro subscription. It is the only way to get real-time pick alerts from me, Stuckey, NFL prop master Sean Kerner, and our entire team of experts, plus all of the tools that you need to turn a profit betting this season. Right now, new subscribers can get $20 off 1 year of Action Pro by visiting actionnetwork.com/pro and using code POD20. That's POD20. That's $20 off for the full year. So you'll be covered for the entire NFL season, college football, March Madness, MLB, and the NBA as well. So don't wait. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use code POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. Before we get to the rest of our Sunday six pack, I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast is sponsored by DraftKings, and in partnership with DraftKings, we'd like to tell you that the next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. That's right. New customers turn $5 into $200 if your bet wins, paid instantly in bonus bets. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up. Once more, use Action Network when signing up with DraftKings to get on board. The crown is yours. For my third pick and the fifth overall of the Week 5 Sunday six pack, I am going with the Carolina Panthers at home, plus 1.5 against the Miami Dolphins. And I know the Dolphins finally got their first win. I think this is a bit of an overreaction. Panthers got blown out.
We just talked about how fluky that was for the
Yeah,
Dolphins too. They should have lost.
exactly. The Dolphins have been terrible this year, and it's been easy to see coming. Now, the Panthers have also been generally terrible, but the one thing about the Panthers is some areas that they haven't been completely terrible, and I know the score probably makes it look worse than it is last week, but defensively, they've been decent at times, and especially at home. Remember the shutout of the Falcons? Defensive success rate. Panthers are
top
eighth.
10.
Yeah, they're eighth in defensive success rate. Miami,
Dead last.
dead last. Even early downs, because throw out some of the noise. Early downs more predictive. Carolina 9th, Miami 31st. EPA, that's where Carolina's 19th, Miami 31st. So either way you look at it, there's a sizable gap defensively for this Panther team. And then offensively, both not great. Now, Carolina's 24th in EPA, Miami's 20th, but I don't think Darren Waller makes up for the loss of Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill is what opens things up for the rest of the offense. Losing him is a brutal injury on a short week, going on the road. Now, Waller, I know he came back, got the 2 touchdowns. He only ran a route on about 36%, 36% of the dropbacks. So his production likely unsustainable going forward. And again, it's just not going to replace the loss of Tyreek Hill. So I just think these are two bad teams at this point. But the Panthers going back home, facing the Dolphins on a short week. A Dolphins team that's just the only team they outgained was the Patriots, and it was by 25 yards on the season. They've just been brutally outgained. I think almost. They've been outgained by almost 400 yards through 4 weeks, by about 370 total, and that's with outgaining the Patriots in one of their games by about 25. So
and with Tyreek Hill.
Tua's regressed. everyone wants to talk about Bryce Young, and maybe the more Andy Dalton we see, the better. Honestly, I think. But Tua's regressed. Now he's not going to have Tyreek, and we know, these guys like Shanahan, McDaniel, they kind of get stuck sometimes when their key guys are out on offense. And then they got to kind of build a whole new offense, and all their schemes are kind of related to these. This guy opening this up for this guy and this, and we've already seen McDaniel's scheme just kind of nosedive, and that started back in 2022. And the one thing I think we've talked about before is the real place that I've seen McDaniel's scheme kind of suffer is they started taking away the throwing lanes for Waddle. And Waddle, last year, he didn't really bounce back. It was a lot of Jonnu Smith. It was Achane. Tyreek, I know, had the down year, but Waddle now is the number one receiver. I don't think this is a good spot for them on a short week at all, especially with the, Waller, who knows how up to speed he's going to be. Is he going to be able to give them even what Jonnu gave? I don't know. So, yeah, give me the Carolina Panthers here. I like the spot, too. If you look at teams, dogs specifically, coming off a loss of 20 plus in a game in which they allowed 40 plus, which happened last week against the Patriots. Since 2003, 141, 98, and 8 against the spread, 59% for 14% ROI. So, like the Panthers, don't think they should be home dogs in this spot. At worst, it should be a pick 'em. But I mean, the more you look into the Tyreek Hill injury, just not a good spot on a short week for Miami going on the road.
Yeah, I played the Panthers. This would have been one of my picks. Just to simplify that stat, just dogs off of loss of more than 4 touchdowns are 60% against the spread over the last 30 years, and that just speaks to the buy low nature. It's a week to week league. And by the way, the Dolphins had a fluky win. The Panthers, and I faded them last week. They were pretty unlucky. I mean, a lot of that game was due to special teams. Right? They were -8. They were -18 in special teams in the first half. They got basically 2 touchdowns on punts, and then they missed a field goal and an extra point. They actually outgained the Patriots last week. And as you mentioned, their defense has been feisty. They play structurally with their zones, the defense that you want to play against this Miami
Yep.
offense. And I mean, they're not getting any pressure, but they can slow down Miami. And Miami's offensive line is atrocious. So they're not going to be able to just fully take advantage of Carolina's deficiencies in their run D. But their defense is playing better than the Miami D. The Miami D is a mess. They're one of the worst secondaries, if not the worst secondary in the league. Their strength is supposed to be the pass rush. Nope, not there. So they're trying to make up for it with the blitz. They're blitzing at one of the highest rates in the league. But Bryce Young, so far to start his career over the past year and change, has been very good against the blitz. That's one of his strengths. So I have confidence that he can make enough plays against this pitiful secondary. And I get that there's injuries. Maybe we'll get some more Jimmy Horn and at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
But two other guys are on the offensive line that I was really worried about. But Brady Christensen looked really good last week at guard, and Cade Mays has looked good at center. And their other offensive line positions are solidified, so I think they're okay there. I mean, this Dolphins team, one of the worst offensive lines, one of the worst defenses. What do they have going for it? It's like McDaniel calling plays to Tyreek and Waddle. Now you don't have Tyreek. It's like uh, this is a pathetic team on the road, short week, following 2 divisional games and a fluky win, kind of a sleepy spot too. So, yeah, I like the Panthers as well. For my third pick and the sixth and final overall of the Week 5 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns +4.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. This game is in London. The spot is not ideal. You have, you're going overseas and you're making a quarterback change to a rookie against a Brian Flores defense and a Vikings team that's already overseas. Obviously not great. I give the Vikings about a half point for that. But what also isn't great is the Vikings offensive line situation. Probably going to be without 3 starters up front, and you're talking backups who cannot play. And you're going up against a Browns defense that's number one in run block win rate, number one in pass block win rate, number one in pressure rate. And you have Carson Wentz back there, who has a 30% pressure to sack rate, 10% turnover worthy play rate, just locks onto his first read and then nothing else. I mean, Browns are going to play man on the outside and they're going to get pressure almost immediately. And what's the recourse for Wentz? Throw picks, get stripped. You can't even run on the Browns. So I just don't know how this Vikings offense is going to look functional. On the other side, okay, what are the Browns going to do? Yeah, it's not pretty against the Flores defense, but they can run the ball. That's what they're going to do here. Like I don't know. What do you hand to the Judkins? 30 times? The Vikings are 26th in rush EPA, 20th in rush success rate. That's where their weakness is. They miss Blake Cashman in the run D. They also miss Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner's a big drop off there. I don't think Van Ginkel's going to play. Cashman's on IR. So obviously you don't want Gabriel in his first start dropping back and trying to throw all over this Flores defense. So I think they're going to rely on the run, rely on their defense. This totals at 36. Like this game could easily end like 7-6, and I wouldn't be surprised. But Gabriel, like Flacco, was playing so bad. Like there was just nothing you could do. The wide receivers weren't getting separation. The tackle situation isn't great. There's wide receiver injuries. I get that, but they can roll him out. They can boot him a little bit. He can use his legs, but they're just gonna run, run, run. And I will say the one very good thing that Gabriel was known for in college was his numbers against the blitz. And you know you're gonna get the blitz against Flores. Gabriel in college was unbelievable against the blitz. 63 touchdowns and 7 interceptions against the blitz, 9-to-1 ratio. When he wasn't blitzed, by the way, 92 touchdowns and 25 interceptions, 3.5-to-1 ratio. He's always handled the blitz well. He's always just maintained poise. And this is all going to be like, hey, short. This is where you're going to go with the ball. If not, get rid of it. And I'm telling you, they're going to rely on the run here. They're going to rely on their defense. They're not going to put Gabriel in compromising situations. And how are the Vikings moving the ball? I don't know. So and I trust in a game where you want to have a run the ball. I trust the Browns rushing offense and Judkins, who's been good against heavy boxes as well. I trust the Browns rushing offense over the Vikings against their counterpart. So yeah, it's risky because you got a rookie quarterback, but with a total this low and some of the advantages the Browns defense should have, I got to take the 4.5. So give me the points with the Browns.
Yeah, the more I look at this, it does look like a 7-6 type of game. I mean, the Browns, the thing about the Browns is as good as they've been defensively, they don't have the DNA of, or at least they didn't have the DNA of like a defensive first kind of team. Like they were throwing the ball 40 plus times a game with Flacco. Judkins really didn't get worked into the game plan until week 3. I know he was back a week before that, but
Yeah, like last week they finally had the rush rate over expectation was pretty high, and it's only going to get higher this week, I think, which is what you want to do to marry it with this defense.
Yeah, it's the Brown. Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna revisit this game too in a future segment. I think I'm gonna pivot from something else. So yeah, like this one, Gabriel. I think the jury's still out on him, but like you said, good news that he's playing well against the blitz, and I just don't think they'll put him in that many situations. And the Vikings, of course I picked the one time to fade to fade the Vikings, and they just blow out Browning. But overall, I think what I was kind of alluding to was, it is turning out to be correct. It's like Kevin O'Connell is not just like this god with this Midas touch. Like there are issues with this Vikings offense, and especially when you don't have your offensive line. Addison is not going to change that. Wentz is not going to change that. And I think this Browns defense.
You don't want to have cluster offensive line injuries against this Browns.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and yeah, Graham's playing well. Garrett, yeah,
Collins is playing really well.
Yeah, man, it's not going to be easy. And I mean, after last week, I mean, what was the issue for the Vikings last week? They got behind, right? So maybe you see a little bit of maybe you don't see as an aggressive of a game plan for Flores. Maybe both teams just try to keep it a little within themselves here, because if the Vikings don't go behind, what is it, 21-7, 24-7, something like that, they probably have a chance to win that game. It's just they let Metcalf run away from them. And so yeah, maybe you see I think overall this just everything sets up for Cleveland here, because it should be a very, very low scoring game.
4.5 is going to feel like 10 when you're watching this game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the more I look at this, yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, so that's our 6-pack. We got recap. I got Denver, Vegas, and Carolina. So that's Bo Nix, Geno Smith and Bryce Young. Yuck.
Yikes.
And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
somehow I'm worse.
yeah, you got Cincy. What is that? Cincy
I got
Jets and
Browning, Gabriel, and
Cleveland.
Fields.
Oh, yeah, that is woo. That's 6-0. Sounds like 6-0 to me. All right. Favorite total of the week. Stuck. Where you going?
Yeah, last week you got there by the hook with the Browns, Lions under. Uh, this week I'm gonna go Broncos, Eagles under 43 and a half. Already talked about this game. I just think the Broncos gonna go run heavy here. Can control the clock, rely on their defense. I don't trust this Eagles offense to do much of anything. So, and their defense is obviously isn't bad. I don't think that they're going to get ripped apart here. I think this is a lower scoring game that ends like, I don't know, we'll call it 2017. Eagles probably win on a blocked field goal at the bell or something. So yeah, give me the Broncos Eagles under.
Yeah, I like it. I think this is that's the script for this one. Eagles just have some, I think, more regression scoring wise to go. Was gonna go for mine with Houston, Baltimore, but
Don't bet that game.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a
It's
lot of
like
question marks. We're
who's
recording
playing?
this
I
on
don't even know
Wednesday.
who's playing for the
Yeah.
Ravens.
And the
And
Ravens defense has been terrible. I mean, the Houston offense has been terrible, but they are. I mean, Woody
Woody
Marks.
Marks.
Yeah, I like that. I like them going to Marks more. I think he might be the true featured back this week because it was kind of still a committee a little bit last week. So what I pivoted to, as I started hearing you break down this Cleveland Minnesota game, everything that I kind of thought about Cleveland and just their the way they're kind of not playing complementary football with Joe Flacco, on offense. I think that could change here with, the fact that they have Judkins and the fact that they're starting a rookie. So I'm going to take this under 36 and a half. The fact that it hasn't even gotten, I don't even see a 37 out there. In fact, it's going down. So, when 37 is kind of a key number, 2017 type of situation. When you're already below that, that tells you that it's just outside like the standard deviations. It's one of those model breaking totals. I totally agree with you. I think this could be a 7-6 game. I think the Vikings may actually not.
It could be like 0-0 at the half. Is one of those.
Yeah, I don't think the Vikings are going to be quite as aggressive here because they don't feel like they have to be. Maybe Gabriel could pick up the blitz, but more than likely the Browns just aren't throwing 40 times a game, and with that came so many incompletions and stoppages, and for the Browns game to still get there last week with what was that, indoors in Detroit, kind of says a lot about
Yeah,
these
three
Browns.
turnovers, one like a pick that was returned to the five.
Oh my God, that pop fly to third base that Flacco threw. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So yeah, these are the Brown scores this year. 17-16, 41-17 at the Ravens. Then they won 13-10 against Green Bay, and then they lost 34-10 at Detroit. So
They can't
look at
score more than 17.
right. And they
Uh,
only give up more than 17 when it's like a powerhouse. Like the Ravens scored 41 in Baltimore, and the
but
Lions
that
scored
also is like
34
two
in
defensive
Detroit.
scores, and there's a bunch of
Right.
defensive scores in there. So like I think they can hold uh the Vikings to under 17 here too.
Yeah, and the Vikings. I mean, it is a rookie quarterback. Maybe the Vikings do get a defensive score, but I think there's still some margin, even if they do, because yeah, I don't not confident in Carson Wentz and behind this offensive line. And I think the Vikings are going to say, "Hey, we're starting against a rookie quarterback. The game got away from us last week. Let's run the ball. At least let's try to." Scott has looked decent. Mason's a good back, and
Yeah, you
I
don't want
think
to
the
lose
Browns are
this
going to say
game
the
by
same thing.
by Garrett stripping you and causing turnovers.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think both of these teams, it just kind of plays into the under here. So yeah, give me the under 36 and a half. Don't think it's going to get to 37 again. Again, I see it going down more than up. So maybe wait. Totals are weird. It is a island game. Maybe you get some super late action and it just balloons up, but most likely it's the highest it's going to get. Okay, so yeah, Philly Denver under for Stuck. Vikings Browns under for me. Let's go to our money line underdog parlay. Stuck, where are you going for this one?
I'm gonna go with the Commanders against the Chargers. This is just the Ravens game is a super uncertainty game. Like I made it 10 before last week. If the Ravens were fully healthy, you take all the injuries on defense. Like they could be without six or seven starters, a bunch of
Yeah.
all pros. Stanley got banged up. You take all those injuries. I don't know. It's a couple points. Lamar to me is worth like 7 points. So that I make it around a pick, but pricing those cluster injuries, I don't know. That is like a huge uncertainty game for me. Their defense is like the worst in the league right now, though, because of all the injuries. Um, so right now in market, it's they're the Texans are like 1 to 1.5 point favorites. So I'm not too far off there, and I just don't know. So I wanted to avoid that game. In regards to the Commanders, another big uncertainty game because we don't know how healthy Daniels is.
Yeah.
So like, is he going to have full mobility? Is he going to have? So like, I don't want to bet it because of that. But as far as taking the side, but as far as the money line upside, it's worth it, especially when you consider that the Chargers offense, it just might be completely crippled by these offensive line injuries. I don't know what they're going to do. Now, the Washington defense is not the Giants defense. Not trying to suggest that, but they were incapable of doing anything because I mean, you go down to two Pro Bowl tackles.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Like, you get Becton back. Is Becton back? I don't even know for sure. I assume.
You should be, but you
If he's
wouldn't.
not, it's a disaster. But yeah, even with him back, like, you're gonna maybe kick Salyer out to left tackle. The Bozeman's been the worst center in the league. Maybe they go to James this week. Regardless, it's a mess. So a lot of uncertainty here with the Washington injuries, the Daniel situation, the Chargers' messy offensive line. There's not much of a home field advantage. So give me the Commanders.
Yeah, it's kind of an uncertainty game for me, guys. I definitely thought about the Commanders. But yeah, I just don't know enough about their situation on offense yet. And I, as full disclosure, also thought about the Giants. We talked about them at the top. We kind of disagree there. I just Spencer Rattler hasn't won a game yet. As long as he's starting as a favorite, I don't love him in that spot. And another one I thought about was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they've been so. I mean, they're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finally, I mean, they lost the game to the even luckier Eagles, but
I
Seattle.
love the Seahawks there, so I'm glad you
Yeah,
can. I mean, look, they're off long
it's
rest.
fair. It's fair. Yeah,
Off long
yeah.
rest, Tampa coming across country, tons of injuries. By the way, the Bucks easily could be like 1-3 or 0-4. There's no Evans. There's probably no Bucky Irving. Backups on the right side of the offensive line. Lots of injuries on D to note. Reddick, Gaines, Cansey, Dean, Morrison. And the way to beat Baker is pressure without blitzing. Always has been, always will be. It's again, same thing this year. His numbers, when you get pressure without blitzing, well, what is the Seahawks defense? It's that. Bottom two in blitz rate, top five pressure rate. Mayfield also, this is the game where I think the turnover regression comes because they're going to get pressure. They're going to be playing disguising coverages in the back end. Mayfield has 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Is 9 turnover worthy plays. And he also has like a bunch of fumbles. They've recovered them all somehow. And the last 2 seasons, Sam Darnold is destroying the blitz. And you know you're going to get that a lot against Todd Bowles. So I like the spot with all the injuries.
Yeah.
I like the Seahawks there. So where are you going to go?
I'm actually gonna go because I agree. I think like the Bucks, I actually probably like the spread more with the Bucks, just because you're still getting the hook now at this point. And that's the Bucks always find a way to hang around in these games, and
It's
again,
fair.
just lucking ear into it. But where I am gonna go is the New York Jets. You already talked about them. I think this Cowboys team has been getting a little bit lucky offensively. I think going to MetLife is going to be difficult. We already broke it down. Offensive line injuries galore. Jets have been running unlucky. Should be probably 500. Look a lot better, but shooting them in the foot themselves in the foot like the same old Jets. But I mean, this is the Cowboys. I mean, look at the Cowboys played the most emotional game, like over expectation on offense against a very good defense, all for a tie. Like that's so Cowboys. I think coming out here, I think it's gonna come crashing down at some point for them. We saw it in Chicago. I think we see it again on the East Coast. So yeah, give me the Jets at plus 120. You got the plus 120 Commanders. So that's two teams at plus 120 at DraftKings. Parlay those together, you get plus 384. And I
Time for
think
you to
these
hit.
two
Well,
are
I think
gonna
I've hit like
go.
all 4 weeks.
What do you have? What did you have last week? I should have said that up top. Where was your
Last week I had um the Jags.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think you did hit all 4 weeks. So I wonder what the I gotta calculate the units, but yeah, you've been locked in, so I'm not surprised. I got some work to do, but yeah, I mean we're kind of connected here. Well, we were last week too, in a way, with the Jags, but yeah, Jets. If they cover for you, they should probably win that game. So we'll see how it goes. But plus 384. this week. And yeah, I think you got four. I don't know if I have. I probably have one. We don't have our tracker in the sheet, but yeah, either way, good stuff. Keep it going. Jets, Commanders plus 384. Now it's time for our anytime touchdown parlay presented by DraftKings. Stuck. Didn't hit on the what was it, Turpin and Golden last
There
week.
was like 80 points. We
Golden
couldn't
should
even
have
get
had
one of
one.
them.
Yeah, Golden should have had one. Tough, but where are you going this week?
Let's go with T. Higgins. What is he plus 2-1 somewhere around
About
there?
230, plus 230.
Plus 230 against the Lions. I don't think the Bengals are going to get many stops. I think that the Bengals offense will look much more functional here. They still can't really run the ball. It's going to have to be through the air. Higgins is going to have huge matchup advantages on the outside. I mean, who's covering him? Like Robertson or Rocky Sin? What are they, like 5'10" each? So there's going to be some jump ball opportunities and some for big plays down the field. And I expect the Lions to win this game. Like I bet the Bengals plus 10.5, but there's a lot. There's the most likely scenarios. This is they're playing from behind and they're going to be throwing a ton. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities here with these cluster injuries at corner for Detroit, and it's not a team that is going to get really quick pressure right away. So yeah, I like the matchups for T. Higgins on the outside.
Yeah, T. Higgins is due for some regression too. I mean, he's been down, but he's been on the field just 90. I believe his route rate is around 92, 93%. And for a guy that talented, a blow-up game should be coming in short order. I'm actually going to go to an interesting one because I did take the under in this game, but the value here for the touchdown on Quinshon Judkins, I think, at plus 155 is good because not only do you have a game where I think the Browns are going to be able
Is
to,
anyone going to score a touchdown in the game though? That's the only worry I
yeah,
have.
exactly. I mean, you could take no touchdown as like a hedge. That would be fun, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with Judkins here because I do like the value. I have this undervalued as we record this on Wednesday because two things kind of play in here. Number one, Jenkins has been getting a very high rate of the carries. Number two, you project to not be as big of a dog and trailing in this spot as most of your games. Even that Green Bay game that they won, they were trailing pretty much the whole game. And Gabriel from Flacco, I think, morphs the pass run ratio a little bit just beyond game script even. So early downs, I think you see more Judkins as well. In near the goal line, they're using the fullback Huntington. I believe he's a defensive player, but yeah, they're using him. So they're kind of set up. If there's a touchdown in this game, I think Judkins has the best shot at it for the Browns in this spot, especially Tillman's out. Isaiah Bond is a guy I thought about too. I think he's going to be undervalued in that market. So if you want a longer shot, but I don't expect many fireworks through the air in this one. So give me Judkins at plus 155. Parlay those together at DraftKings. Higgins 230, Judkins 155, and you get plus 741 for our anytime touchdown parlay for week 5, presented by DraftKings. Week 4, week 5 Survivor. Did I hit last week? What did I have? Detroit. Oh, okay, I did. Okay, I'm somehow still alive here. Week
I have some
5.
of my the huge pool flyers.
Okay.
Like last week, I went with Atlanta and who else? For the two I have left, I lost a lot on the Texans in week
Oh
2.
God.
But I went last week. I went with the Falcons and um what is the other one I used? Oh, the Falcons and the Patriots. This week I have two left in this huge pool, which I mean there's Christmas Day, Thanksgiving is a whole separate week. I This week I went with
Woo!
and uh the Saints and the Panthers.
Oh man, I mean that takes some cojones. I can't even. I'm still not with you on the Saints. I still can't get over Spencer Rattler 0-10 and just the turnover word he throws. I sense we could get some more Shuck. I don't know. I mean, Rattler's played okay, but I think from a survivor standpoint, it is a
I
great
mean, I'm
play.
trying to be risky.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like this is the only 2 weeks I'd probably use the Panthers. I mean, the only week of the year I'd use either one of those teams. So
Um. All right, I'm gonna go, and this is why I did mention. I think it was week 1, and saving Arizona, and ended up going with Philadelphia. So if anyone did the same, that means you would have Arizona this week against his Titan team. That man, like Houston
Three and
actually
18
scored
against
last
the
week.
spread for Callahan.
Yeah, like oh my god, he's so bad. Like
It's
all
unbelievable how bad it. Now, here's the thing. I leaned Arizona in that game. If you want a teaser, also, I think Arizona maybe to like the Jets uh, is a good teaser option this week. Um, so I also think the Brown well the Browns there's a lot of variance in there, right? So I would just take the points with them. Um, I kind of lean the Cardinals, but I've said this all year. The Titans defense wears down and the dam breaks every week. I mean, it was 6-0 in the fourth quarter last week. He had 20 points against the Rams. You saw the same thing because like Simmons eventually wears down. They triple team him. There's no one else. This is a one-man day. So can the Cardinals run the ball? Like the Titans' run D is not good
no, they
without
got
Swift.
Benson on IR now.
Yeah. So who's gonna be running it? Because my
Michael
thought process here is
Carter, Michael Carter, the
can he
former
have a
Jet. I think so. Demercado's been the 2 minute back. So I
yeah? He's
think
like a
Carter.
receiving guy.
Yeah, so I'm like Carter is actually full disclosure, anytime touchdown. I was looking for the Carter odds, but they're down because we're kind of just getting this news. But Carter's the guy I think may still be undervalued on the market because he got brought up last week and he played over Bam Knight as the backup to Benson. And we saw the same thing in what was it, week 18 last year, where Carter got brought up off the practice squad. They already had, I think, DJ Dallas there, and Carter still was the lead back. So I think it's going to be Carter. I mean, he's not great, but I still think this Cardinal offense could do enough. I think they're kind of, Marvin Harrison still has more positive regression.
Yeah, he
So
finally looked good at the end of the game. Looked like he got some confidence. So I teaser option. Yeah, agree with you, your survivor. But I'm gonna be looking for the Cardinals like second half if this game is
okay,
close or like live at some point. Because I do think the dam is gonna break with the Titans, especially if the Cardinals are like actually having success running the ball. The Titans defense will wear down and then the dam will break. Um, and the only other game we didn't talk about, and then Callahan will make a catastrophic decision at some point or three. Um, the only other game we didn't talk about was Patriots Bills. I'm monitoring Bills injury report. Milano, Oliver, and Spencer Brown all were back at practice today. That's pretty big. I don't know if they're going to go or they're probably going to be limited. We'll know more tomorrow. The Patriots, look, here's the thing. The Bills' run defense right now is broken with these injuries, so we'll see if they get everyone back. But the Pats can't run the ball. The Bills still are getting a ton of pressure. The Patriots are giving up a ton of pressure. Drake May's playing really well, considering his offensive line, considering no running game, considering the lack of separation his receivers are getting. But his success rate and numbers on like late downs are astronomical. There's probably some regression coming there. He's probably going to have to take some sacks here that are going to kill some drives. And the Bills, my fear is the Patriots aren't going to get much pressure, and Allen is going to be able to abuse the middle of the field here. I mean, the Patriots linebackers in coverage are the worst in the league. It's so bad, and their safeties aren't great. So I fear for what Allen can do over the middle of the field in this game, and I'm not sure May can continue this pace. And the Patriots' lack of run game right now, like they're like I don't know bottom two in success rate, rush EPA. It's bad, and that's how the Saints. That's one of the reasons I like the Saints last week because they were able to run it on this Buffalo team. But some injury questions right now, so I got nothing there on Sunday night. Well, one of us will write that game up. So
would
stay
you
tuned
feel
on Action Network
would you
app.
would you feel confident at all in? Because I usually shy away from division games in Survivor. I think I ended up taking the Bills against the Dolphins in week 3. But would you feel at all confident in the Bills in Survivor this week if you had them still or no?
Uh, I'd rather use the Cardinals to be honest. There's because I just don't know right now on the Bills injury situation, and if they're still out, if they're Milano and Oliver are still out, their D right now is really bad. So, but I do think they get the win. But I would much rather use. I mean, the Bills have an easy schedule. They're a much better team than the Cardinals. Like you're getting the Cardinals at home against a bottom feeder. This is the week to use the Cardinals. But if you have the Bills, I think they win. But
Yeah,
I still need some more. I don't love the matchup with the Patriots because they can't run the ball. and they're going to give up pressure. And there's probably May's probably going to take some sacks, and it's going to kill some drives. And I'm not sure you can keep up this pace on third downs. And the Patriots linebackers are so bad in coverage that it's going to really cost them here. So, yeah, I
I'm
would feel
just
fairly confident, but I would rather use the Cardinals if you
I,
have it.
I will get out of here. I was looking at our survivor, and you went down in week 2 with Houston, and I'm just looking at how things have come full circle on the season. I ended up using Baltimore in week 2, saying like I think they have a tough schedule going forward, and this is and like how far from just everything have we come? Where it's like Houston, Baltimore in week 5, it's like a 40 total. They both stink. I mean, this is just
Ravens are home dogs.
like, yeah, it's just absurd. But yeah, hopefully somebody's still alive there. And good luck with the Saints this week, Stuck, in your big pools. And we'll get out of here. That's a wrap. Thanks for listening. Shout out to our sponsor, DraftKings. If you want to tail some of the bets we discussed today, you can find the quick slip links in the video and podcast descriptions, or visit actionnetwork.com/bet now. If you're on X, check out Playbook. Just tag @Playbook, and our AI bot will create a bet slip for you with whatever bet you're looking for. All season long, you can hear more of me and my guy Sean Kerner talking fantasy, player projections, DFS, all that good stuff over on the Fantasy Flex podcast. And of course, be sure to check out Stuckey on the all-new Favorites podcast. It's really dope, as well as talking college football over on Big Bets on Campus podcast. You can find Stuck on X @Stuckey2. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until week 6, let's get this money.
Let go.